Hit my music.
It's time for another Elsie's Little Pickles. It's the Pickle Pod for the people, and that's exactly what this show's going to be about. The people who...
My music, as a pro wrestler would say when he's about to cut a promo on someone.
That's it. That's where we're going.
I'm going to take you down the aisle, and I'm going to run my boot over your forehead.
All right, so it's been a couple of days.
That's right.
As usual, that's all it takes in this news cycle for crazy shit to happen. It would be very obvious.
I just read the news and all I can think of is loony, loony, loony.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm so glad that I'm not a participant as much as I am a spectator. Because to participate in the insanity, which is the world today, just does not make fucking sense to me at all. I don't know about you, but so we've had a couple things go on, and we'll get to the news in just a second. But we do have a couple things that have gone on that are very, very recent, and maybe we'll get to these, maybe we won't. But one, obviously, there was a shooter, or at least somebody carrying a gun on Trump's golf course, which sent Secret Service into a tizzy, and now is at least underneath Trump world being called a second assassination attempt, although there was no shots fired from the guy with the gun. It was just from Secret Service.
I keep seeing where people are like, well, how did he know that Trump would be at the golf course? It's a Sunday. Where's he going to be? At church?
Where the fuck else is Trump?
Bullshit.
If there's not a rally going on or some sort of event at Mar-a-Lago, where is he going to be? I don't know. Let's check the closest golf course. That happened. Sean Diddy Combs was denied bail and will remain in federal detention, the judge rules. And then on top of all that, according to the news sources, they're saying that people's pagers in Lebanon are exploding on them and causing huge problems and sending people to the hospital. People are missing limbs and digits and having their hips blown up and having.
You think that
chunks.
Maybe it's just pager technology? I mean, let's face it, pager technology, that was great in 1994.
I wouldn't even go that far, to be honest with you. I think that was like the peak of it. But this idea that apparently they're trying to lay this on Israel, which, I mean, that's amazing if that's true. I don't know.
I haven't heard the word pager, and I don't know how long.
I don't either.
Did I ever tell you that I had a pager that actually had a woman that would answer and print out a message across my pager?
No.
It was like $25 a month. Everybody thought I was crazy, but I got news updates every 5 minutes on my pager. It's one of those big, like, doctor ones.
Yeah.
Mom hated it because she would call my pager to figure out what was going on, and this woman would answer. I was like, would you like to leave a message? Mom thought at first it was recording, and she did not realize, like, the first 2 or 3 times it was a real person.
That's funny. And knowing Mom, she's probably like, look, you stupid bitch. Tell him to call his fucking mother. Right?
Probably.
I wouldn't doubt that with Mom.
Would you like hamburgers or lasagna for dinner? Could you ask him that?
And tell him it's a 911 issue.
And my bunions are burning.
Oh, my God. Oh, the namesake of the podcast, our mother, Elsie. She would be, I don't know if she'd be proud at this point or not, based on what we're talking about, but she's dead, so
yeah.
She'll get over it. All right. I'm sorry. I'm in a mood.
If she wasn't dead, it would kill her.
Yeah, if it wasn't, she would. Anyways, hit me with the news.
Well, for the second time in its 179-year history, Scientific American has endorsed a candidate. only the second time
Well,
in almost 180 years,
that ought to
saying
tell
that
you
the
where-
U.S. faces two futures. One candidate offers the country better prospects, relying on science, solid evidence, and the willingness to learn from experience. In the other future, the president endangers public health and safety and rejects evidence, preferring instead nonsensical conspiracy fantasies. I'll let you guess which is which.
Yeah, let's not tell the listening audience which one is which, and see.
Let's
Maybe
keep them in
so, you know,
suspension.
how about we do this? Why don't you reach out to us on either Facebook or on Twitter, Elsie's Little Pickles, and let us know what you think. Which one they're leaning towards. I'm going to go with Kamala. I know that that's a big risk to take, but
You think
I'm
so?
still going to go with her. I mean, I'm sorry.
And
I
in
gotta
other news-
hold on a second. I gotta go back up
go
to.
ahead,
I gotta
go
back up to the fucking exploding pagers. How does that even fucking work? How do you do that? Is it like are you triggering the battery? I mean, like really? I mean, I've watched some of the videos. They're pretty fucking explosive. I mean, so what are
Really?
these? Yeah, like
Is
they're fucking
ma-
people up.
bad, like, company pagers? Like,
I did.
Built
Well,
it-
they keep saying that these are tied to Hezbollah in some form or fashion, and I don't, like this is all breaking news, so I don't have enough information to really speak to it. But I mean, the most kind of like, I don't know. Let's put it this way: of all the things that you thought
do you
could blow
think there's
up,
a possibility that maybe, just maybe, so I'm trying to think of a Palestinian name, or I don't want to sound racist.
well, we'll just call it a
like-
Palestinian name. Insert Palestinian name here.
Oh, let me page Frank. Deet, 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 deet. I'm going to blow up his pager just over and over. Like, call him.
And
5
literally,
minutes later, you hear, oh,
oh shit! I literally blew up his page.
oh no. I just wanted to know if you wanted chicken or beef for dinner.
Oh my god, I just don't get that. I don't like you would. I would think you would have to have known that they were buying these pagers in the first place. You would have had to intercept those pagers. Then you would have had to place some sort of an explosive device within said pager. But apparently not. Apparently Israel can just
Next time
blow
you
you
call
up.
me 2 or 3 times in a row, I'm going to just be like, answer on the 4th one, be like, my hip. My phone. You blew up my
You
phone.
blew me up. All right, back to the news. Sorry, it just there's some things that are so stupid, like that doesn't even make sense to me. And I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm no tech genius. Maybe it is the way it is. I don't know, but God,
Do you think there could be a code? What do you think that code would be? Would it be like the upside down boobies?
probably.
Like,
Yeah, like, somebody just fucking messaged me boobies upside down. I don't know, man. I literally don't know. Is this the world we live in? Where it's not
Yeah,
just gun violence, it's not just war, it's literally your
it is
fucking
now phone
pager. It's not phone.
violence, if you will.
It's who even still has a pager? Like
1-800-detonate.
honestly, like clearly that's got to be one of the questions that are asked through this is who still carries a fucking pager? But I guess if you're in, covert world and
Somebody who's driving around in the Middle East in a 1993 Mustang 5.0 with shiny rims, ridiculous sunglasses. Yo,
the big wraparounds.
Yo. Oh no.
I don't know, man. Like so that blew my
Great
mind.
big bling around their neck.
That blew my mind, but go on. Scientific American is endorsing Kamala and
Yeah. Oh, now you give it out. Now people won't write in.
yeah, well, that's who they are. Still write in and tell us if you agree.
And of course, as of 2 hours ago, the Senate IVF bill fails again to advance on mostly party line vote. The Republicans got their way The bill was shot down 51-44. Susan Collins, Republican of Maine, Lisa Murkowski, Republican of Alaska, voted in favor of the bill along with all Democrats. And Chuck Schumer hit the nail on the head. If this Senate votes no today and strikes down IVF protections yet again, it will be further proof that Project 2025 is alive and well.
And that's it exactly. You know, I mean, what people I don't think understand is this Project 2025 exists with or without Trump. So it's not a matter of whether or not Trump will enact it. It's not a matter of whether or not he'll get elected and then enact it, whether it's under the guise of Project 2025 or as he's rebranded it, his Agenda 47. It does not matter. This is where the Republican Party's going.
I'm going to enact Project 60 or Agenda 66. I don't know if you get that reference.
Yeah, that's from Star Wars, isn't
it? Yes.
But again, this is one of those things where I don't think people understand.
The Cheeto Emperor.
This has no. The Cheeto Emperor.
Mr. Robe, an orange face, and little tiny hands, double fisting a little glass of water. Darth Vance.
Oh.
Get out there in the news.
The
create some stories.
The grievances are strong in this one. So, but when it comes to this, what I honestly don't think people understand is that this is being pushed forward as a Republican agenda, regardless of who is in office. And
dumb question.
They will push
serious subject. Would he be Darth Vance or Sith Lord JD?
Ooh, he's Darth Vance. I think
Darth Vance.
Yeah, I think he's Darth Vance. And I think that there's not a couch in the galaxy that is safe from him.
No.
So, but
speaking of Vance, actually,
okay,
October 1st is the vice president. Oh my God, I can't talk today. The first vice president debate.
How do you think that's going to roll?
Both can talk, but I think Walz is better at being personable with people, whether in person or behind a microphone. And I think Walz has got a lot more of a background in public talking and getting points across than JD Vance.
I think you don't.
All he has to do is, make sure that there's some kind of nice lazy boy chair, and JD will be mesmerized, thrown off his game.
I think JD is actually a very smart person.
Yes, but he says very dumb things.
Well, he's saying very dumb things in defense of his running mate. I think that he saw the opportunity that no one else really wanted. I mean, no one really wanted to be Trump's VP after what Pence went through. I mean, well, let's put it this way. I find it difficult to believe that anyone would want that. When he basically left his previous vice president, Mike Pence, out to hang, so to speak. I just don't see where anyone would be kind of standing in line to be the next one for him. With that being said, I think that he saw it as an opportunity to move himself forward politically. And I think at that time it made sense to him because he's like, this is a shoo-in. He's going to win over Biden and I'm going to be a VP and I'm going to be set for life.
I think Walz needs to come out on stage with Alice Cooper makeup just over his eyes. just to show up Vance and his stupid eyeliner.
I challenge you to an eyeliner. An eyeliner debate. I think when you get into, if you have a high school teacher that's got any time in, you're going to have a hard time being more comfortable off the cuff than that. I think high school teachers specifically have learned not only the script, but they've also learned how to be fast on their feet. So I think that's what really prepares Walz more than anything is his history as a high school teacher. But let's get back to the news. Was there anything else?
just that J.D. Vance says the U.S. could drop support for NATO if Europe tries to regulate Elon Musk's Twitter.
Okay, so that's bullshit. Talk about picking winners and losers. When you say we're going to pull out of NATO if you don't let Elon's company come in, you're picking winners and losers. So don't play that game anymore. It's like playing we're all law and order. You can't fool us anymore. We're totally for IVF. Well, apparently not all of you, at least the ones that are making the voting decisions. So no, you can't. Yeah. Like, how many times do you think you can say something and fool us with your actions in a different way? At some point, it's got to end. You know what I mean? And even Bill Maher has come out and said that he thinks Kamala is going to take it because he thinks that, just like with McCarthy, the Trump shit show has come to an end. It's come to a point where people just are not entertained anymore. And I think that what she said in the debate, where she said people are bored and they're leaving early, I think that was actually really on point, because I think people, oh God, did it ever. But I think that people have gotten to the point where, at least in the United States, if not the entire fucking world, Trump talks and you just don't even want to listen anymore. It's like, it's orange noise. It's not white noise. It's orange noise. And I think people have gotten to the point where do you remember me telling you a little bit of the history of like Lenny Bruce, how he was like this really brilliant comedian for forever and a day. And then when his legal troubles started, he got to the point where he could only work one club in, I think it was San Francisco. And he was essentially doing what Trump's doing, which is just reading his legal briefs and talking about his grievances, about his legal problems. And that was it for him. That was the end, and that's where Trump is like, he's entered his late Lenny Bruce stage, where
all he talks about is his grievances.
Well, that's it.
His hit list for when he's president.
It's nothing more than a grievance tour. And I don't think that this country is built upon grievance as much as it is about hope and future. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what the president is. I mean, you can go back to Reagan. It was the shining city on the hill. It was about hope. It was about moving forward. It was about doing better. And that's kind of what we've always done.
Yeah.
We're usually the ones that make the right decision because we've run out of wrong decisions to make. But eventually we do get there. So like, we will go through every wrong decision possible under every fucking circumstance, but at some point we come to the conclusion, okay, this has got to go. This isn't working. And I think that that's where Trump is right now, and I think he knows it. I think it's really worrying him, because he's not just running for president, he's running from getting thrown into jail. And it is not going well.
Fox has grown tired of his public speaking. The other day, I don't know if you saw it, I caught a clip of it on the Tube of Views, but somebody pointed out, because Trump was 34 minutes into his rally speech, and Fox cut in with and in other news.
Because there's no news being made there,
Nope.
And here's how sad it is. We've gotten to the point where whether that guy on the golf course was actually trying an assassination attempt, and based on what you're saying, it kind of sounds that way, because he wanted Nikki Haley and Vivek, right?
Yeah.
As the ticket. All right. Well, that would be the second time that a Republican tried to assassinate the Republican frontrunner. Because that first kid in what was it, July?
Yeah.
He was a registered Republican. And if what you're saying is true, and I don't know if it is or it isn't, but I'm going to go with you because 99.9% of the time you're accurate, that would mean that, again, it was a Republican trying to take him out. So how are they able to say, like they are, like J.D. Vance said, Democrats, you need to bring your rhetoric levels down because somebody's going to get hurt. Whoa. What do you mean, bro?
Yeah, what
Democrat? What Democrat is between those two? Which one of them were a Democrat? Neither. When you have Republicans trying to take out the Republican candidate, you would think at some point the conversation, I don't know, might turn to gun control. Because it's easy to say, no gun control or whatever, if it were Democrats or leftists that were making these attempts, but all indicators are that both of them were pretty staunch Republicans. So much so that they were willing to shoot this guy to get their Republican candidate in. So I'm a little confused here. I'm a little bit on the ledge about this because it's like, on one hand, I am totally, as you know, and so are you, pro Second Amendment. On the other hand, I look at 90% of gun owners in this country, many of who are members of the NRA, think that we should have stricter background checks. I'm not asking to take anyone's gun away. I'm just asking that you make sure that that lunatics don't get the guns. I'm not even asking that you make sure that they don't have a political view one way or the other. I'm not like none of that. I'm simply saying it should be relatively easy to see if they have a history of mental illness. Yeah. And maybe we shouldn't let those people have the opportunity for guns. I'm also saying that when it comes to red flag laws, while imperfect, maybe that could be made perfect. Maybe you could, as legislators, do your job and go, well, this is an imperfect law, but it does have the seeds of being a really, really good law. Let's hash this out. Let's talk this through. Let's see if we can figure something out so that the people who actually know the people who have guns and are acting irrational or maybe have had a break with reality can prevent them from ending up on top of a fucking barn in the middle of a field shooting at a potential presidential nominee.
Oh, Steve, you're just asking too much.
I think I might be. You know what I mean? But, I mean, look, all this talk about guns and assassination attempts, you would think right now that the most dangerous job in the world would be Donald Trump running as the Republican candidate for president, based on the fact that within 2 months, he has potentially had 2 attempts on his life. I would argue that it is more dangerous to work at a Waffle House.
What do you think would happen if tomorrow Trump is out golfing, takes that backswing, and has a heart attack and dies? What happens to the ticket?
I have no idea at that point, because I don't think that the RNC is behind JD enough to make it JD picking, but that would be their only choice.
Talk about a pickle.
Well, exactly.
A pickle of a situation.
I think what would be more likely to happen, though I don't know this to be true, what would probably be more likely to happen is they would bump up Nikki Haley and then let her make a decision. I think that's probably what would happen. And I think that would be very interesting to see how and if the Republicans would be able to turn around and drive that campaign against the Democrats with Kamala in the same way or as an effective way as the Democrats have on Trump.
I think that situation is really the only way that the Republicans save face in the light of all the craziness.
Well, one of two things are going to happen. All right. And I lean towards the latter in this. One, Trump wins and the Republican Party becomes the party of Trump for whatever that means, for however long that means. The second choice, which I think is far more likely, is that Trump not only loses, but he loses, and a lot of Republicans have a great big sigh of relief because they realize then that they can, because then they can actually rebuild the Republican Party. They will have at that point enough evidence and enough facts to be able to say to the constituency, and mind you, Trumpism is never going away. It's just like ISIS. It's an ideology. It's not going away. However, I think that there would be a post-mortem that would drive the Republican Party to go back towards more of what the Reagan Republicans believed in. I think that they would regress at least to Reagan, I would think. in an effort to try to rebuild, because I think they have to go back there in order to just get to the 11th commandment of thou shalt not speak negatively of another Republican. So I think that they need to do that. I think that that's the only thing that's going to be healthy for the party. And I think that one way or the other, that's going to happen, whether that's him, stroking out on the 9th hole or whatever. I think at some point.
My next question for you. You ready for this one?
I probably am not.
Let's say Kamala Harris wins, right?
Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris wins. I said it. There I go. There I did it. I did it. I did it. It's over.
Congrats. Good job.
Thank you. I'd like to be the first person that called it.
What do you think happens? Do you think there's a chance Trump will go crazy and just leave the U.S.?
No. I
Try to save his own ass.
I think he will. See, this is a tough one because he'll have that sentencing coming up after the election. So he can't go anywhere until after the sentencing. And probably after that sentencing, he won't be able to go anywhere.
Well, that's why I think he would try to run. I really do think that there's a chance that he might have a plan B.
Well, the only chance of a plan B would be to go to either Russia or to go to, where's, what's his face from? Is it Turkey? The guy that he's in love with.
Erdogan?
Erdogan, yeah. That's Turkey, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So I think that he's got a couple
I'm
of
not
safe
sure if it's
spaces.
turkey or mashed potatoes.
It could be cranberries for all I fucking know. But the bottom line is
with little Kim.
He's got basically 3 or 4 countries he could run to and hide in, and none of them are good choices, really. I don't think he would go to North Korea. I don't think he'd be down for that vibe for very long. And I don't think little Kim would be entertained by him for very long. I think Russia or Turkey are the most obvious choices, mainly because I think those two guys would be like, I've got an ex-president in my pocket. And I think that they would take some pride in that. Even if it cost them a couple of golf courses to build, they'd be like, yeah, whatever. Go play your golf. Stupid fucking game. Go, Donald. Go. You go do this. You go do this. Walk around 18 holes. Hit the little ball. Pick it up. Hit it again. Good for you.
Have you seen the video where he continuously misses his putts?
No.
Oh. It's like 5 minutes long of just him missing the easiest shots.
Well,
it's so great.
Like I said, I mean, getting back to the whole gun issue, I don't understand how you can be in a circumstance where it appears that the two people who have tried to take your life as a presidential nominee both appear, at least, to have been part of your party. Like, where's your argument then?
Trying to take away a choice.
Okay, but no. I mean, I'm sorry, but no. Right? Like, that's the only logical response to that. You know what I mean? And I would say, again, look.
The key word there is logical.
Well, again, it goes to my point in the sense of, let me pull it up here. What's more dangerous, being a Waffle House server or a presidential candidate? Okay. I'm going to go with the Waffle House server. A Waffle House employee was shot and killed after a customer became angry after waiting for his food to be prepared, police said. The customer became agitated and verbally abusive towards employees at a Waffle House in Laurinburg, North Carolina on Friday night, according to a police statement posted on Facebook. After the customer was given his food, he started walking towards his car before turning around and firing 2 shots, police said. The man then fled. Authorities said police are still searching for the suspect. An 18-year-old Waffle House employee was taken to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead, the statement said. This incident follows a number of disputes that have turned fatal at restaurants. A Subway worker was shot and killed in 2022 after a dispute over too much mayo, authorities said at the time. A McDonald's employee was also shot in 2020 after telling a customer to leave due to the coronavirus restrictions at the time. This is just a small sampling of that, though. Okay. The bigger picture goes to.
I asked for no tomatoes.
In October. Yeah. Like literally, what the fuck is going on where people are freaking out that there's too much mayo on their Subway sub and they've got to pull the trigger and kill somebody? What is going on in the world where your Waffle House order takes so long that you feel before you leave that the tip you need to give is out of a 9 mil? I mean, like, where are we going? And I'm telling you, as God is my witness, and I don't even believe in God, I think something fucking happened and snapped in this country and maybe the world after the pandemic. The level of patience that people have is no longer existent. The level of freak out is always sitting, like if you have 0 to 100, it's always sitting at like 95% ready to freak out. And you know what? I never saw this before Trump. And I'm not saying that it was Trump. I'm saying it's more likely that it had to do with COVID and the lockdowns and the mental health issues that have come from that. But you have a guy like Trump feeding this. You know what I mean? Like feeding that narrative, feeding that anger, feeding that division, feeding that divide. So like, look, there was the Schemengees, I guess is how it's pronounced, Bar and Grill in Lewiston, Maine, October 25th. Mass shooting left 18 people dead and is considered the deadliest mass shooting of 2023. The gunman targeted 2 locations, including this bar, in what was described as a premeditated attack. A tattoo parlor and restaurant, Half Moon Bay, California, January 2023. 7 people were killed in 2 locations. You got Star Dance Studio and Restaurant, Monterey Park, California, January 2023. Gunman killed 11 people. Tulsa, Oklahoma bar, 2023. Shooting that targeted patrons at a local bar and restaurant. Multiple people were injured and several lives were lost.
I don't mean to laugh, but did you almost say sharding?
I almost did, actually. And somebody sharded in a restaurant and almost took 9 lives. So, what is the cause of that? Is it
mental health?
Okay, but that's easy to say. But what is it that's actually the mental health issue? Was it the division that came beforehand with Trump? Is it the division that has come since Trump? Or is it the mental stress of that particular pandemic event sent so many people off the edge? I think it's a combination of things.
Feeling of people who feel like they no longer have power. I can control other people. If I can control whether they breathe or not, because this object on my hip says that I can.
Okay, but you just told me about last Sunday there, and I didn't even know about it.
Yeah,
last Sunday
in Eastern Market after the Lions game.
And what was that even over?
What it was over, I don't know. But
Eastern Market, for those that don't know, is a fruit market. It's a fucking fruit market.
It's where you go to tailgate. There's a lot of little pop-up restaurants there.
Yeah, but I mean, in general, it's nothing more than people going and getting their drink on, getting their food on, getting their produce on. You know what I mean? Like maybe buying some artistic trinkets. But I mean, it's
the
like
biggest fight there usually is: do I go with the artsy fartsy pancakes or the omelet?
Yeah, like that's usually the biggest debate. So what the fuck could possibly happen at Eastern Market? I used to work at Eastern Market as a kid. I mean, like when it was totally like you knew who the mobsters were, right? I mean, you knew. And even then, no problems. And maybe because of that, there were no problems because they knew that Uncle Vito was going to take care of shit if you fucking stepped out of line, no matter who you thought you were. You know what I mean? Like,
do you ever think that maybe the advent of lack of organized crime like that in areas has led to the proliferation of just random violence?
I think it's very possible. I don't know if it's probable, but I think it's very possible. But I think
Yeah,
actually
just
what's going on
Some
is,
of that makes me think sometimes,
so you had mentioned what the police chief, I believe it was, said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he used to say back in the day, two guys had disagreement. You just beat each other up, then go have a beer.
No one
Couple of
lost their
punches
life.
thrown.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, both people went home afterwards. Whereas nowadays, everybody's got a damn gun.
And again,
I mean-
I don't even have a problem with everyone having a gun. I have a problem with people who shouldn't have guns having guns. There should be some sort of reoccurring.
I had
test.
a weird experience. I went to a Dollar General, and the fellow in front of me, there was two people in front of me. The one directly in front of me had a handgun, like probably a 9mm on his hip. No biggie, like whatever. But the person in front of him, who kind of looked like he threw on whatever clothing. I mean, he had Crocs with socks, which, I mean, I'm not saying it. I got Crocs with socks on right now. But he had like basketball shorts on, some kind of ripped up sweatshirt, and what brought his entire ensemble together was the AR-15 hanging from his shoulder.
See, that's ridiculous.
And he was just shopping at Dollar General.
That's just ridiculous.
Why?
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't even carry my 9 on my hip. I don't even carry my 9 on my hip. You know why? It pulls my belt down. It pulls my pants down. You fucking carrying.
You got no ass.
Yeah. Now you're carrying a fucking,
And it had a shoulder sling and everything. And just sat right underneath his armpit.
Basically, he had more invested in his weapon than he did in probably his entire wardrobe.
Yes. And when he was done shopping, he waddled out, because guess what? He was overweight. He waddled out and got into his minivan. His mini.
Nothing says I'm gangster more than a minivan.
Rolling with my town and country.
Yeah. So I find myself in a circumstance where I'm looking at these things and I'm going, all right, let's back it up to the economy. Maybe that's what it is. Because we saw all the issues that happened with supply chain making people crazy. There wasn't enough toilet paper. That's where you really started to see people lose their shit and violence break out over fucking Charmin. You saw that over, meat at one point. There was no meat to be had, or very little, or the cuts were just the cuts that no one really wants. And I wonder if it's not related. Okay, so one of the things that happened was you had a lot of people forced to work from home. And in the beginning, you had a lot of people that were very resistant on that. They're like, I don't want to work from home. And I think,
like my wife.
Well, I think they realized, especially working from home, that they did not like their wife and kids, or they did not like their husband and kids, or they just didn't like their fucking family at all in any way, shape, or form. I think a lot of that did happen. And I think you saw a lot of divorce come out of that. However,
as of Monday, all Amazon workers are to report now to the offices 5 days a week.
Yeah, I saw that. And good fucking luck with that, Amazon. You want to know where the next shooting's going to happen? I'm not encouraging this by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just making a prediction. This is just a prediction. The next violent thing that's going to happen, maybe not a shooting, but the next violent thing that's going to happen, major violent thing that's going to happen at a workplace is going to be at an Amazon. And the reason is, when you start doing that shit, you are not
far off. As someone who used to work for Amazon, I can tell you there are times tempers run really high over the stupidest shit.
Right. But now,
stupidest shit.
Now everyone's packing. You know. So here's my question. You go to
an Amazon, you have to pass through metal detectors.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't. But you can't tell me you can't get a ceramic knife that won't fucking set that off. There'll be something. Not. There will be some sort of violent thing that happens, whether in the facility or in the parking lot. You do not bring people full-time back to work like that and not expect tempers to start to flare up. And this gets to my point.
An argument almost come to blows in Amazon over a bag of rice that happened to break open, because that is catastrophic for machinery. Bag of rice, that's doomsday. But you can't control that. It just happens.
Right.
And yeah, there was almost a fight between managers over it.
Which would have been great. Whenever it's manager versus manager, that's a lot better, I think. But here, I guess, like, this may be a stretch, and I realize this, all right? But I think what you're seeing happen is you saw the slow roll to everyone being required either to be in office 3 days a week, 2 days a week, whatever. That was the ease in period. And now you're seeing it like with Amazon saying, nope, now it's 5 days. You've had your 3 days. I don't think that the repercussions are being thought out from the businesses, first off. They think that they're going to get more productivity that way. I would disagree. I think that the person who wakes up and doesn't have to take a shower right away and goes and checks their emails and gets started on their day, has a cup of coffee, maybe an egg for breakfast, takes a shower before it's for their first meeting. Now they've used that hour and a half that they normally would be getting ready and commuting. They've used it already to get started in their day. So in doing so, they're already putting in more time than the average employee. I think that it was not appreciated by these big companies. And I think that these big companies think that they're going to get more work by having people in office, but that's not the case at all. You're going to lose the 2 hours on the commute or thereabouts. You're going to have people leaving early. You're going to have water cooler talk. You're going to have every excuse in the world not to go sit in your fucking cubicle because they've had so long where they didn't have to sit in the cubicle. They're not going to want to go back to that. You can't go back on that one. And they're going to discover that.
You could pass away in a cubicle
and not be found for 4 fucking days. Again. So what drives this?
That doesn't happen, does it?
I'll tell you, you want to know what drives this insanity? 3 to 5%. 3 to 5% is what drives this insanity. Every year, especially on companies that are traded publicly, they're expected to create 3 to 5% more profit over the previous year. Every year, year after year. And this, I think, is insane. Why can't you just be happy being profitable? If all your employees are happy with the pay that they make and the environment that you create is a positive environment and you're creating a quality product, isn't that enough?
That sounds to me like that sounds to me like a pyramid scheme.
What, the 3 to 5%?
Yeah, just
it is a pyramid scheme
every year.
Because you know why it's a pyramid scheme? Because there's only so much there's only so much juice you can squeeze out of any given lemon. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you're done doing
analogy.
that, when you're done squeezing that juice out of that particular lemon in that, let's call it 5,000 square foot facility that creates fucking paper clips, right?
Steve, I'm going to need you to get an extra 3 to 5% of juice out of that lemon. Could you do that by 4 p.m. today?
That'd be great. Now, I was told I could listen to my music at a reasonable level. And where's my red stapler? I'm missing my red stapler. That's my point. That's where we're going. Okay? So use that as the example, right? Use Office Space as the example. When he gets called in, right, to defend his job, and he goes, I usually roll in about 10 o'clock, and then, I don't really do much, and, I'll walk around a little bit or play some video games and, maybe do a TPS report or two, but for the most part, I'm checked out. And they're like, this is the guy. He's brilliant. Because that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's the guy who's really not interested in any of it. That's the one that those fucking morons go, he can get 3 to 5% more out of everyone else. The people who actually want to try to get 3 to 5% more, They're the ones that end up in an early fucking grave. They're the ones that end up on top of the fucking postal office or the fucking McDonald's with high-powered weapons. They're the ones that end up in schools losing their shit and shooting shit up because they've been pushed too far, too hard, too long.
You know what? This is a great example in my time at Amazon. There was another worker, another associate by the name of Keith, ironically.
Oh, that's odd.
And it was not me. And he was in packing up orders, putting them in boxes, slapping the label that gets printed out, ship it down the rest of the line. And there was a rate of, I do believe, $215 an hour, because you had to make a rate. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
$215 was the hourly rate you had to make. He was hitting a roughly $325, which was phenomenal. Nobody else was doing this. Nobody else was going above $220. And because that's just very, very fast. So Keith kept hitting $320, $325, $330 over the course of like 2 weeks. And over the course of the next month, his bosses were like, this is phenomenal. This is awesome. Can we do a video of you doing your process so we could show this to everybody else? Maybe we can raise the rate a little bit if we effectively try to reproduce what you're doing. None of that happened. What instead happened was he got nothing. He was blowing out the rate for everybody else per hour, and he got nothing. Just a slap on the back. Good job. No raise, no nothing. And so a month passes, he's doing 225, 215, maybe 220.
Why work harder?
And the bosses were like, dude, you were doing 320, 325. You've hit 330. You know, is there something that we could do to help you get back to that? And he was like, you had your chance. And he just went about 215, 215. And as he said, because he got nothing.
Right. And
he's
you know
like,
what?
What's the incentive?
What's the incentive?
Do it.
Exactly.
I get the same amount of pay as the next person.
Exactly.
And just barely making 215.
And the fucking gall of his bosses to come back to him a month later when he's doing what is expected. Yeah. Right. And
they
probably
truly acted like he did something bad.
Right.
And that was the impression that he walked away with. And everybody else was, don't go over your rate. You're not going to get anything for it.
He showed everyone on that line, just do what you have to.
Yeah, exactly.
When he could have been used as the example of, if you do more than you have to, this is what waits for you. And this is, again, this gets to my point, because you know what? By giving him $1 raise, that might make it, you know, instead of 5%, it's 4.9. Come on. Come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're working ourselves to death. To death. For what?
I know of stories. It did not happen in any of our warehouses, but people who died on the line. There was a very famous story of a guy who had a heart attack, died, and people around him got in trouble for not working because they were trying to get help for the guy.
Yeah. So, but
get back to work. I was in a situation. We had a semi fire in the semi area, the trailer drop off.
Yeah, and
the semi started on fire, and there was nothing we could do. Unfortunately, the fire was about 20 feet from the propane tanks for the building, the propane tanks and the AC unit.
Awesome.
So if that started, the whole building would have gone up in seconds.
Right.
Costing roughly 400 to 500 people's lives.
Yeah, but we're not interested in that. Back on the line. Back on the line.
I radioed the managers like, hey, that side of the building, safety was with me at the time, and let's clear out that side of the building. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. You know what? Well, I can't say that actually. Something did happen. The managers went to another side of the building and left the workers. Yeah.
And people wonder why everyone is so stressed out, walking around with a gun on their hip, ready to fucking kill over too much mayo on their fucking sub. You know, again, I'm sorry, but what the fuck is going on in this country, in the world where that happens? You know, I mean, it's one thing to talk about any attempt on Trump, okay? But you almost know that that's a possibility when you run for the office. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, somebody who becomes an actor or actress and doesn't expect that people are going to say nasty things about them. You know, like it's going to happen. You might as well get thick skin, you know, toughen up a little bit. It's not going to be pleasant. You're not going to like it, but it comes with the territory. But
now that I think about it, I still have pictures of that truck fire on my old phone.
Really? If you can pull those up.
Because I was taking pictures.
You should try to find them
for the safety people.
You should try to find them and post them on the Facebook and Twix.
And saying this, I'm not slamming Amazon because their safety people did the right thing. They were trying to get the managers to get people evacuated. It was the managers who decided to evacuate and leave the workers.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like we live in this kind of never-ending silliness, you know? And I don't think people know what to believe anymore. I don't think that they know what is real or what's not. And I can't say that I even do. You know what I mean? Like, was that guy there to try to kill Trump on his golf course? Maybe he was. We don't know because it didn't play out. And again, thankfully, it did not play out. Thankfully, that guy never got a shot off. Thankfully, you know, he was arrested.
Yeah, thankfully, he wasn't even shot.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of things that you can look at that and go, thankfully that happened, right? But it's already being turned into spin. It's the second attempt on my life. And you know what? No, it's not.
Within an hour, he sent out an email asking for more donations after the second attempt. He also called Biden, and apparently there was some words because he blamed Biden for it.
Yeah. How do you blame Biden for that one? No idea. I don't get it either.
Did you see the footage of Biden signing the presidential seal hat for the guy with the Trump hat?
Yeah, and they switched it out and traded it, and he put it on. I thought that was actually endearing.
Would you like me to sign that hat? Hell no.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. It was a little bit rude by the guy. The guy was a little bit rude, you know. But
you know, I think Biden handled it perfectly.
I do too.
And just was like, this is comical. Let's have some fun with this.
Yeah, and I think he's at the point where he's like, I got nothing to lose. What the fuck do I got to lose? I can do whatever I want. I could literally take this Trump hat and shit in it, and I'd be all right.
I mean,
which would have been awesome.
Would have loved to seen him just throw the hat.
No. I would have loved to have seen him drop trow and squat one out into the fucking hat. Just take a dump right in the fucking hat. And then put it back on that guy. Be like, there you go, motherfucker. I don't know. I think that we're in a crazy time.
Signing Donald's name on the hat.
It's crazy times. It's crazy times, and this is a crazy show. So that's another Elsie's Little Pickles, I guess.
Get goofy with the face, y'all.
They're gonna shoot.
Did I get a pickles on that? No.
Houston, we have a problem.